How do you convince a FSBO to work with you? Well, you got to understand how a FSBO thinks, and you got to speak their language. One of the common mistakes real estate salespeople make is they call up a FSBO and they say, hey, I've got a buyer. If I do, will you pay me a commission? And the FSBO says, well, I won't sign anything, but bring your buyer over and we'll figure out where to go from there. Now you're trapped because you probably really didn't have a buyer and you were looking at it as an excuse to get in the door. Let me give you the first rule of thumb with dealing with for sale by owners. You want to get in the door honestly. What you want to say to them is, I don't know if I have a buyer. I haven't seen your house yet. And houses are like people. It's what's inside that counts. I'd love to come over and have a look at your property. And I know that 9 out of 10 people who try to sell their homes privately eventually end up using the services of a professional. At least let me start the relationship. And when you're there talking to the FSBO, how do you get them to really think about using your services? You got to speak their language. At the end of the day, you got to understand that the for sale by owner is trying to save money by doing this themselves. So what do you say to somebody who's trying to sell their house privately? What if I could prove to you I could get you more money than you could? Would you sit down and at least investigate my marketing strategies? Now, I also want to warn you that you're not going to typically convert that FSBO on that appointment. You got to build a little rapport, and you got to keep popping back to see them. Like most people, as they attempt to go through this exercise, if they're serious about selling their house, they're going to get frustrated. And when they've had a bad weekend, you need to be the person they think of on Monday. So don't just stop by and think that they're going to convert. That's not how it's going to happen. You got to keep popping by, keep touching base, and you got to be there when they're ready.